As a former fat boy myself, pulling myself together to do my first bulk was one of the hardest things. I lost 50 pounds. I was like, I'm cut, I'm lean, got some veins, whatever. Like, I don't want to put the weight back on, but like, I also want more muscle. So like, what do I do? To be completely honest, if you were a fat ass before, overcoming the hurdle of just accepting your first bulk will probably be the hardest part of this whole journey. Everything in a bulk is basically the same thing as a cut, just with a little more food. And that's it. It's just a little more food. Training's better than on a cut. And that's pretty much it. Your routine, your training, and your diet should all remain relatively the exact same, just with variances in like the quantity. So like, you're not gonna be doing as much cardio as you're doing in a prep or a cut setting. Foods, it should be pretty much the same foods that you cut on, just in higher quantities. Ramp up the training a little bit since you have more recovery capabilities and things like that. But the training's gonna remain pretty much the same as it was on a cut. So the first mistake that I'm gonna go through is guys getting too big. Some people are gonna have to get a little bit fluffier than others. That's just part of it. But there is a fine line between getting fat and putting on size. The thing that you'll hear on social media a lot is insulin resistance. And when you put on too much body fat, you will become insulin resistant. Now, Madx, what does insulin resistance mean and why is that important for a bulk or for an off season? When you are insulin resistant, your muscle, your liver, and your fat cells do not effectively respond to insulin. Let's say you have like a set amount of glucose within your muscles. Whenever you're insulin resistant, your pancreas will have to create more insulin to move that same amount of glucose into your cells. When your pancreas does this over and over and over, this will lead to chronically high insulin levels and impaired nutrition partitioning, which just means the way that your body handles nutrients, which are the carbs, proteins, and the fats that you're eating. One of the biggest factors in why you need to remain insulin sensitive in a bulk is nutrition partitioning, like I just mentioned. Whenever you're insulin sensitive and your body's responding to insulin very well, all the carbs and the food and the protein and all that stuff that you're eating is going to be partitioned, shuttled, moved more into muscle cells. Insulin resistant, all of this stuff is going to be more stored as fat. Took two twins that are eating the same amount of food, but this one is insulin resistant and this one is insulin sensitive. This one is probably going to be in a lot better shape and go through a bulk a lot more cleanly because he is partitioning the nutrients correctly. To help stay insulin sensitive on your bulk, a couple of ways that you can ensure this. One is going to be taking a leaner, slower approach to your bulk. If you're starting on your bulk today, let's say you've been eating at maintenance and you want to start your bulk today. You're not just going to add 1,000 calories to your week and start there. You're going to slowly ramp it up. So like you can maybe just be in a 200 to 300 calorie surplus on a week-to-week basis, and that'd be enough. Another good way to help with insulin sensitivity is some sort of daily movement. Me personally, I like to keep cardio in all year round. Not only for insulin resistant helping state like this, but just for a cardiovascular health standpoint as well. Some other good points to remain insulin sensitive. Focus on quality sleep. Time your carbs around your training. Ensure that you're having a good fiber intake. So anywhere from like 20 to 30 grams a day is a good place to start. I think having a good step goal count every day is good. So anywhere from like 8 to 10,000. Limit processed foods, and then supplements that can help with insulin sensitivity specifically are things like berberine, alpha lipoic acid, chromium, and magnesium as well. Now this next piece is going to be how you can be like your own coach, how you can assess week to week how your bulk is going and what to do going forward. I think being able to be very self-reflective and seeing what your progress looks like and what you're doing on a week-to-week basis and knowing what to do or how to go moving forward is a very good skill for you. Just in anything in life, knowing how to look introspectively, I think that's the word, or look on the inside and see what you're doing and knowing what to do going forward is a very good skill. I think a good 0.8 to like 1.2 pounds gain per week is a good slow rate of gain. Deciding what to do week to week can be kind of confusing, but if you have some easy guidelines to go by, it can be a little bit easier. So let's just say for this first example, it's going to be you've gone a couple weeks or 2 weeks without gaining too much. The first thing I like to look at would be visuals. So your pictures on a week-to-week basis. If you look at your pictures from 2 weeks ago compared to now, and you're only up about 0.1, maybe 0.5 pounds, and you're just not gaining enough, that can be one sign going forward to increase your food a little bit. Let's just say you go through this period, your body composition is relatively the same, but you're not gaining the size and maybe not gaining as much strength in the gym that you want. That's like I said, a sure will sign that you need to increase your food a little bit, increase it by maybe 200 to 300 calories for the week, or 50 to 100 grams of 50 to 100 grams of weight carbs at a couple of your meals. Now the second scenario, you're gaining too much. Let's say at this week right here, you were 160 pounds. Okay, you go to this week, you're 162. You're like, okay, that's not too bad of a jump. If training is improving, the body composition is relatively the same, maybe getting a little fluffy, okay, give it another week, okay? Let's say we go from 160, now we're at 162. We go another week, ooh, 164, another 2-pound jump. A 4-pound jump in 2 weeks is a little bit too much. That's where you may need to scale back on the food a little bit. It doesn't have to be a drastic going from a bulk calorie count to go into a cutting, but just cut back like 200-300 calories. Now, restart the process, okay? We're at 164, okay, made a little change, cut back on the food a little bit. Oh, body stays about 163.5, lost a little bit of weight, good. Next week, maintains 163.5 again. Now you found your spot. If training and recovery and sleep is all still in a positive manner, then you found where you need to sit at for a little. So just because you're not gaining poundage on the scale, if you are gaining strength in the gym, if you feel better in the gym and just better overall, that is another good indicator that the calorie count or macro count or whatever you want to call it is in a good spot. The scale is just another tool in your tool belt that you can use on your bulk to guide your decision making. Yo, so recently I was looking through my YouTube analytics and I saw that 83% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed. If you do me one little favor and hit the subscribe button, it would mean more to me than you understand. God bless you to all you guys that do and support this journey. Like I said, it means more to me than you guys know. Back to the video. That's one big thing that guys will miss on a bulk is that they think it's all the food, which a big part of it is, yes. But a big part that I think a lot of guys miss is the training piece. If you're not giving your body the stimulus every single time you train to grow, you are not gonna grow. You have to present your body with a new stimulus every time you train the muscle for it to grow. If you're training like shit, if you're not logging your lifts, if you're not progressively overloading, you are not gonna grow. It's simple as that. Does this mean that you have to be lifting 405 this week and then 455 next week? No. I think a good like 2-pound, like the little 2.5 plates, if you can add one of those to your lifts and you can add 1 or 2 reps to your squat each week, that is good. That is progression in and of itself. Like I've stated in the past, progressive overload does not have to be done simply through weight and reps. It can be through improved tempo. It can be through improved full. There's a million different things. It doesn't have to be just weight and reps. Those are just the quantifiable ones that are easy to track. Like for an example, let's say this week you did 225 on bench, 8 reps. And then next week you did 225 for 8 again, but you focused a lot more on the squeeze or a lot more on the depth, really on the squeeze, and you felt it more in your chest. But Madx, I didn't give my body a new stimulus because I did the same amount of weight and reps. Yes, you did. You felt it more in the muscle. Therefore, that is a new stimulus to your body. Therefore, that's another chance for your body to grow with the food that you're eating. If you're just presenting your muscle and your body with the same stimulus every single week, and it's not progressively getting harder, your body is going to keep rebuilding the same muscle. That's why you may look the same every time you go through a bulk, is because you don't focus on the training. You're not presenting your body with that new stimulus every time you go into the gym. The two main things that you can look at are your weight gain and your progression in the gym. A little 0.8 to 1.2 pounds per week, and your weights and your reps are going up in the gym, don't change anything. If your numbers in the gym aren't progressing and you're losing a little bit of weight, maybe increase the food. If you're gaining too much weight per week, decrease the food a little bit. Once your body starts to maintain that, then you know that you found the right calorie count for you at this point in time. Now that we're in a bulk setting and we're not in a cut phase and we're not like really being stringent on like what we're eating, this is a good time to have a good variety of foods that can support your gut health. You need to go through a bulk and sacrifice the health of your gut simply to put on size. Eating the foods that can support a healthy gut, you're not going to be able to use the foods that we're eating effectively. And just like with the insulin resistance thing, if we're not utilizing the food that we're eating correctly, it's more likely to be stored as fat and not to building muscle and the things that we want to be doing on a bulk. I know I hit on it a little bit, but I'm going to go back on the topic of cardio on your bulk. Main emphasis for cardio on your bulk should not be for a calorie burning perspective, but for a cardiovascular perspective. Doing a set of 12 to 20 on like a hack squat, right? You don't want to be the limiting factor, like the reason that your set ends be because your cardiovascular health has gone to shit because you don't do cardio. You want it to be because your muscles failing or just you can't simply move the weight anymore. The way to ensure that you are cardiovascularly ready for your sessions and you're not gonna burn out is to implement like short interval cardio throughout your off season. A good place to start would be like 3 days a week for 20 minutes and do sprints on the bike, sprints on the elliptical or on the stairs, just to ensure that you're having good cardiovascular health. Your bulk so your sessions can last longer, your sets can last longer, leading to better muscle growth, better sets, better everything. And the last piece on cardio and all that kind of stuff is going to be tying in your cardio in the morning with your steps. I think that throughout your bulk, you should have like I said earlier, a set amount of steps that you get every single day. And you can get a vast majority of those done an hour after you wake up. If you implement 30 minutes of fasted cardio, it could be a 30-minute walk, it could be 30 minutes on a treadmill you have at home or whatever. I think that fasted cardio should be a year-round thing. Not from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. Whenever you can have a win like that right off the day, and you can like just take some time, don't even if you're going on a walk, like if you live in the city, leave your phone at home, go on a walk. If you have like something to track you need to have something that's tracking your steps, like a Garmin or an Apple Watch, a Whoop or something like that. But just having that morning startup time with no screens or anything is very beneficial in my opinion. So not even from a physical perspective, just from a mental perspective, good fasted cardio in the morning or good fasted movement is very important. So a basic overview with all this is going to be: one, do not allow yourself to get too fat on your bulk. To mitigate this is going to be keeping your calorie surplus at a moderate level. Not everyone needs 1,000 calorie surplus to grow. It can be anywhere from 200 to 500 calories. I'd say 500 calories is a good place to start above your maintenance for your bulk. The training piece, you have to be giving your body a new stimulus every time that you go into the gym for it to grow. If we're not giving our body a new stimulus, we're not going to be utilizing and using the foods that we're eating correctly, therefore not putting on the muscle, therefore possibly storing the food more as fat. You do not want that. Give your body a variety of foods during your bulk. We have this increased amount of food that we can be eating, so we want to diversify that as much as we can without overcomplicating it, obviously. You want to pick maybe 1 or 2 sources of fruits, 1 or 2 sources of veggies, 2 or 3 sources of carbs, maybe 1 or 2 of protein, to give your body a wide array of micronutrients, macronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and all that kind of stuff. Whenever you're taking in a wide array of these things, you will support a healthier gut. A healthier gut will use the food that we're eating more efficiently. The more efficiently our body uses the food that we're eating, the more easily, or not more easily, but the better we'll put on muscle, less as fat, and all that good stuff. A bit of an update. I started working with Nutrix supplements again. So I've been using their protein for the past like 2 years, and it is the best tasting protein powder that I use with my cream of rice that I've ever used. I've used quite a bit of protein powders in my time, and it can't be beat. The chocolate shake one that I'm using right now for my cream of rice makes a literal chocolate cake of cream of rice, and it cannot be beat. Their cookies and creamer is good as well. I have their link in the description. Code Madx to save. I believe it'll save you 20%, 20 or 15%. I can't remember, but save some money. Support your brother. Support a homie. Support the channel, and go use my code Madx over there. I appreciate all you guys that do. But with all that being said, I'm gonna wrap the video up. Let me know what you guys want to see next. God bless you. Have a great day, great morning, great week, great whatever from when you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.